Really a pleasure to be here and honored to be speaking at the IPA. So I guess the question on the table is what makes the biggest difference in deploying campaigns in lots of markets? And I basically have three big themes to offer. The first is about the importance of brand-led creativity, particularly in deploying campaigns in lots of markets. The second is the importance of strong activation and everyone playing their part, and I'll give you a couple of examples of when that really comes to life at Unilever, but also how I think the changing media landscape is affecting that in some cases. And the third theme is about discipline and communication and patience. And I think that, touching on the theme that was just spoken about, I think that great brands are built over time and are a result of a really clear muscle memory. So I'll talk about that in a moment. So first of all, there's a piece of research conducted by Microsoft which showed that the human attention span has decreased from 12 seconds to 8 seconds since the invention of digital media and the fragmentation of technology, blah, 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 and that the goldfish has stayed at a steady 8. And so what that means is the human attention span is now lower than the goldfish. So this creates a few challenges. First, it means that there's the fragmentation of brands between different channels, but probably more importantly, there's the fragmentation of consumer attention among different channels. And that puts increasing pressure and it puts more importance of the role of strong brand-led creative in cutting through and touching the hearts and minds of consumers. And there's good evidence from a couple of studies which are a meta-analysis of effectiveness that support brand-led creativity. A meta-analysis of winning IPA studies showed that it was the campaigns with a clear coordinating brand idea which showed higher indices of hard and soft metrics over and above, say, just campaign ideas without a brand thought behind it. Actually above that was actually participation campaigns, which showed even more indices of improvement in brand equity measures. And I think that actually the Snickers campaign is a good example of a fame campaign, which is good for really mature brands. There's also a study done by Comscore, and they found that among all their research, 55% of the sales uplifts were attributed to the creative, whereas say only 12% generally were attributed to things like channel selection. So what I'm trying to say is the quality of the creative and the brand idea is the biggest distinguishing factor between effective campaigns, and even more important in the case of multi-market campaigns. At Unilever, our marketing strategy is called Crafting Brands for Life. And at the heart of this is the thought about building brand love through brands with a very clear, articulated purpose. We believe that brands should be products to buy and ideas to buy into. An example of this is the Dove insight, which is that the pressure to be beautiful feeds our tendency to focus on the negative, making beauty an unnecessary source of anxiety. So Dove believes that beauty should be a source of confidence and not a source of anxiety. And so it responds to that insight with the idea, real beauty by real women. Now, the reason this is really important in the context of any conversation about campaigns that are effective in lots of markets is for two reasons. First, it provides markets and marketeers with a really clear framework to think about the brand within. You know when you're off-brand, you know when you're off-brand or on-brand. But more importantly, it provides an inspirational jumping off point year on year as marketers develop campaigns for market and as marketers in market develop activations in their local context. I think that's springboard, I think, which local markets really need. So I want to provide you with a really current example of, I think, of a core central idea, well activated in local market. So this is a campaign you might have seen sprawled around London called Magnum Pink and Black. This is the central campaign asset, the core key visual developed as part of the campaign. The idea behind the Magnum brand is pleasure is yours for the taking. And this campaign inspires people through an immersive use of media to choose which Magnum mood they're in. Is it Magnum Pink or Magnum Black? So a really simple ad, and you'd have seen this around in out-of-home media. The way that this has then enabled local markets to bring it to life in their local context. In London, they took over the London Eye, enabled people to change the colour of the London Eye based on tweets. And equally in Istanbul, we took over the ancient town, and you were able to change the colors of the lights in Istanbul based on the tweets as well. So again, it's still along the same guideline and theme of the campaign of immersive media, which was a core theme we signed up all the markets to. But equally, it's something the local teams can really own and develop independently as well. So next, what I want to talk about is the importance of strong activation and execution and the need to balance content creation with distribution. It's really easy in conversations about multi-market campaigns to get into conversations about global versus local, but actually the world is more global and more local. We now have channels like Facebook and YouTube, which mean we can deploy campaigns fairly quickly in lots of markets at once. And globally, we're developing more specialty in buying media globally and getting those efficiencies you can get when you have centralized teams. But equally, the world is more local. The content that really resonates on those channels is often through a local lens with local celebrities, and your friends are the ones who share the content with you. So the world is more global, and the world is more local. And I think it comes to life, I think, for the campaign we did for Dove Beauty Sketches, where we had 300 million views on YouTube, which were bought efficiently in the middle. But it was hidden behind that in some ways is the 3.5 billion PR impressions that the teams on the ground were able to procure. So having each team within the global marketing organization have a very clear role, where the global team are responsible for the global idea and the global campaign, and the local team are responsible for activating it within a very clear framework, is absolutely essential. So the only other thing I would say is, and a final theme I want to offer is the importance of discipline. I think that brands are like strong muscles, and this is strong muscle memory. The best brands and the best marketeers are able to work a single idea and insight over time and get better and better as they execute that idea and insight to get to really, really effective campaigns. But equally, the teams that work together continually and play the role that they're supposed to play in terms of global brand development or global brand building are the ones who see the better results. So I think it's about aligning early on objectives, getting ideas and inputs from market early, selling your ideas into the business. So often I think marketers fall over in getting their campaigns in market because they may fail to communicate and sell it in early enough. So I can't stress the importance of that. So the three things I want to leave you with is that brands are products to buy and ideas to buy into. Creativity matters more than ever now in the changing media landscape. The world is more global and more local. It's really important for strong execution that everyone plays their part. And that landing a campaign really requires discipline in terms of timing and communication internally. And I'm happy to answer questions about any of the particulars about how Unilever does that in the Q&A. Thank you very much.